Let's begin. Don't mind Christopher Ningli. Let's begin showing you some highlights. Daniel Crafton was the one that covered this game at Accra Sports Stadium. It was between Hearts and Folk and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, an outstanding Week 7 game in the Ghana Premier League. The Super Class. It was built up to be one that was supposed to be one-sided. Kumasi Asante Kotoko showing imperious form in the lead up to this game. Hearts and Folk struggling. In the end, the spoils were shared. Take a look at the highlights.
Underway here in Accra. Here is Obin Jr. Lovely control on the left foot. Good backheel from Bania. Here is Awako. Brilliant save from Danlad Ibrahim. It's a corner for the Forbians.
Aglas Nawako offers support to Bania, who finds him as well. Drags the ball to his weaker side. His left.
Game involving Kotoko and Hassan. Awako swings one in. It's headed away by Afuakwa. Fatal gets the header. Mutari! Great save from Richard Atta. Nearly beaten.
But once the ball pops back to Esman Yam with a suit, just dinks it over top for Tuga. And Tuga's improvising because he knows he can't hit it with his left.
It's Barnier. He beats Ganyu to it. Here is Barnier. Now Obin Jr. Against the woodwork.
And Barnier is aware of where his strike partner is. Obin Jr. just controls the ball onto his left. Does everything right, beats Danlad, but not the post.
Scored against us when he played for Inter Allies last season. Now it's in Fege. Goes past Kosa in Fege. Goalkeeper Richard Atta to the rescue of the Forbians. He wouldn't be beaten at the near post Atta. Yes, Rustum Senogbe whistles for the end of the first half here at the Accra Sports Stadium. Asante Kotoko, and it's the Forbians who gets us going for the second half. Here's Asma. He beats Mohamed Al Hassan to it. Asma's cross! And Etuga can't find his 12th goal of the season.
Look at Etuga, who holds his run on the penalty spot area. Should be doing a lot better with it because he's got time, he's got space.
Kosa in trouble. He gives away possession. It is Infege. Now Lamte. Great save from goalkeeper Richard Atta to deny Richmond Lamte for the second time.
Kotoko, Infege does the right thing here. I was wondering if Lamte could have gone with the first time about it, controlled the ball into fitness.
Here's Kotoko. There's an appeal for a penalty, but the flag was already up for offside. Game set to produce no winner, and there we have it. It's over. Here are the...
All right, so no goal, but lots and lots of chances for either team, really. But in the end, nobody could score. Before we start to unpack, let me just show you what this result means for the table at the moment. In the Ghana Premier League. It was the only outstanding game before the end of the first round. Now the first round is complete, and every team has played 17 matches. Kotoko are top with 37 points. Bechem United have 30, 7 points behind. Great Olympics with 28 points as well, 9 points behind Kotoko. And the Jana Stars completing the top 4. If you're looking for Hearts of Oak, you have to go all the way down to 8th position with 25 points. They are now some 12 points behind Kotoko. So can they claw back that gap and possibly retain the title? That is the ultimate question now. The bottom 3 in the Ghana Premier League, Wafa, 11 Wonders, and Elmina Sharks. The second round of the league will start this very weekend as well. So there's no time for any sort of break. Very exciting game. I'd like to start with Daniel Crancy, who was at the stadium. Daniel, basically unpack everything for me. I mean, from the attendance to the game itself, the football itself. It was 0-0, but it was far from eventful.
Let's start from the attendance. It's like we are not serious in this country. It was Friday night that the directive for 30,000 capacity was given. This was something that a lot of us were calling for, and if we were serious, we would have done those consultations during the week and given the clubs ample time to prepare towards the 30,000. We all saw the chaos around ticket sales. And it showed on the match day. It showed whilst the game was going on. There were lots of people outside who wanted tickets. The funny thing was that that bad culture of hoarding tickets still happened. And a lot of people who were holding those tickets, those overpriced tickets, the guys who were outside just couldn't afford it. I don't see why I should buy a 50 Ghana ticket for 200 cedis. I'd rather wait and then watch the highlights on Start Times. And that's what happened. And a lot of people were outside the stadium. You could see the empty seats at the end of the day, although the attendance was okay. But if you look at the directive, proper planning, it could easily have been better. Let's go on to the action. This was one of the most interesting goalless draws I've ever watched. It was action-packed, nothing short of dramatic. You saw the flying tackles and those things that accompany a huge derby, and everything was in the game. In terms of what's transpired in the game, I choose to look at the game as it was a game of either half. I think Hearts of Oak completely dominated the first half in terms of possession and chances created. The glaring opportunities that they created, and we've seen it from the highlights. The most glaring one was Obeng Jr.'s chance. I said it somewhere, 9 out of 10 he will score that chance. It's just happened that today was that 1 out of 10 that he would miss, and then he missed it. You look at Suli Ali Muntari's chance, and it was quite early in the game, and this is why I'm a bit disappointed, because of a player of his experience should be able to have that composure and finish a chance. It was the acrobatic effort was a bit unnecessary, and when you look back at it, it was a very good opportunity, because he could easily have brought the ball down and had enough time to pick a spot and finish it. So it was a bit disappointing. But in the second half, and everybody who was at the stadium could tell that the way the first half went, Kotoko would change something and come out much better in the second half, and it showed. Hearts of Oak in the second half, when they had the ball, it was a bit noisy. They were not necessarily doing anything with the ball. And I think the substitution of Suli Muntari also changed the complexion of the game. Hearts in the first half were picking out passes from the midfield. The transition was much quicker. Ali Muntari was going for his precise long balls, which usually spark the attacks. But in the second half, when he got off the pitch, they tried to progress things a bit slowly, allow Kotoko to regroup and defend much better. And the Kotoko attack just seemed a bit more sharper in the second half, especially through Fatal's side. We saw Mfuege doing some good work for a forward player who is playing or a centre forward who is playing on the wings. I think he did quite a good job. We've seen him play in this position quite a number of times this season, but I think he held his own in that position. And you looked at Lamte's contribution. Mudasiri was a bit disappointing on the day, and you also have to credit Samuel Boedu and his tactical approach to try and stifle Mudasiri's movement, and it worked on the day. But Lamte was good. It's just some of the decision making that let his team down. Yeah. But all in all, I think it was a game of two halves. But if you're looking at the magnitude of chances created, I feel Hearts of Oak should have been at least 2 up.
They had the clearer
they had the clearer opportunity, at least 2 up at half time. And you see, if you look at the dynamics of the game, once it passed the 70th minute and it was goalless, and you could clearly tell that the Hearts of Oak attack was struggling. They were not creating as an opening, making as many openings as they were in the first half. The fluidity of the passing was a bit stale in the second half, and you could tell that in Kotoko's minds, if you are not going to score, then we don't really need to force the issue and open up. So then Kotoko started to just play the ball around, pass it out, and then try and waste some time and just see off the game. And you can understand them. If they are 7 points ahead of the second place team, there was no reason for them to risk it and lose. So it was a good display. But for Hearts of Oak, you see, a lot of people are praising Hearts' performance in this game. But I feel it's a trend that we've seen throughout the season, and it's a bit disappointing that it manifested in this game, because if you look at Hearts throughout the season, they play very well, they create chances. The finishing has been a problem. We were here last week talking about Isaac Mensah's chance, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago we were talking about, I think it was Aveime Drogba who missed the golden opportunity. I've forgotten the game, but we've seen this trend continue over and over this season, and you expect that in the big games you'll be able to find that killer instinct and be able to finish off the chances. So for me, I don't yes, the performance in terms of big games was an improvement, but it's still the same old things that we are seeing, and it's not the best.
I mean, Nimble, I want to pick your thoughts from the Kotoko point of view. Daniel has highlighted Hearts of Oak's biggest problem, which is scoring the goals, because they create the opportunities. And we saw even in this game, they had, like you said, the better opportunities. That Ben Junior chance should be scoring. Muntari should be using a better technique than an acrobatic one. Kotoko, they came into this game in great form. They, on a per analysis on Friday night, they even possessed the better players. But like Daniel indicated, they weren't as dominant as we expected them to be. Is it a case of Kotoko, people just saying perhaps, okay, you know what, it's an away game, let's be happy? Or you think genuinely Kotoko would be very disappointed that they didn't win this game?
I think, personally, they disappointed me. Because to be honest with you, I think they came into the game without any pressure. And if you are that relaxed, that is where we're supposed to see your A game. Because at the end of the day, they knew the gap before the game, 12 points. So they were not completely playing under any sort of pressure to go and win this game.
Yeah.
So they should have come into the game very prepared and ready to express themselves. But they look a bit timid for my liking, especially in that first half. Mm-hmm. It's like what we've come to identify them with, that fluidity, that off-the-ball movement, that Mudasiru sort of, although I want to believe strongly that Samobuedu did listen to Sports Panorama. When I made the
point, a number on him.
I said, look, he's my good friend. I said, look, if you are listening, find a way to stifle Mudasiru. And you take a lot from this Kotoko team. Because look, what that boy does, no other Kotoko midfielder can do.
Yeah.
Because he's the only player who can go past the opponent as if they are not there.
That's true.
And when he sees the gap in front of him, the desire, the drive, the tenacity with which
the power
with which he goes through.
None of the other midfielders.
None of the Lamte, the Agadas. No, they are just ball winners and pass and then try and play. But he is a complete technician, Mudasiru. So if you stifle him, you've taken something away from them. And I was happy that somebody compare Kotoko to find a plan B. That is where they started struggling. In that first half, they hardly got the ball to Mbege. Is that their name? Mbege.
It's
Mbela. Okay, so they hardly got the ball to these two very influential guys. And again, you were at the stadium. They felt it, didn't they?
They did.
The moment the game
started,
Salim
was very likely to stay on, to be honest.
It is part of the coaching. Nobody's saying go and kick them. They haven't been in such...
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they are doing so well in the league. We want foreign players to come. But when you have to play in our version of the Classico, and you are a foreigner, you need to be introduced properly to our league. And the best way to do that is to get him to feel in his balls and sensation. And I was happy when...
But in all honesty, I don't think our league is more physical than the Cameroonian league, to be honest.
Well, this is our version. This is our version of our league. So I was so happy when they were reminded. You see, when Salim gave it to him, he helped him off the come on, stand up.
Yeah.
He told him, this is our version of our Classical. But apart from that again...
Let's go through the chances. This one.
Ali Muntari, is he?
What's wrong with what he did there? Technique?
If only we could go back.
Yes.
If only we could go back to the acrobatics. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, there wasn't the need for that. Mm-hmm. So
here,
okay,
the corner is floated in.
The corner is floated in.
All right, it's cleared.
Okay. I just need you to... Okay, pause it here, pause it.
Oh, God.
He said, look at that. He's a left-footed player.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the Kotoko player is
here. Right.
This year, when the ball was coming,
onside.
He was onside. There was absolutely... Could have even
tested it.
He could have just brought it onto his favorite foot. And if that ball has landed onto his favorite, who is in the post? Who is that?
Danlad.
He dare not make an attempt. Because the power in the drive would have been absolute.
So that's the wrong technique.
That's absolutely the wrong technique. There wasn't the need for that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Ali,
and he doesn't hit that
with all your experience.
All right. And then this opportunity, namely...
look, I think it's a brilliant save.
Oh,
but
wow.
I think he gave the keeper every chance.
I mean, the technique alone.
It's not, for me, it's not even the technique. It's the movement.
Yes,
look at it. Look at that. He saw it. Look, This
Wow.
guy is a proper.
That's a proper
I mean, he's a proper striker. You see,
That's a
And
he's
then the clearest
locating-
opportunity of the game, Nimli.
Come on, man. Look, you see, there was no need to actually go for power.
That's right.
Because if you look at it, you could clearly see him not raising his head. If he had raised his head, I'm sure if Mbella or Infege had gotten this ball,
Oh, that's okay.
he would have raised his head and clearly see where the goalkeeper is and pick his spot and just go for it.
Interesting.
Okay?
All right. There was a key moment in the game, obviously, that we'd like to highlight. There was a penalty call, that was let go, and I'm not sure. Daniel,
I think
you
this one-
were in the game. This is it.
I think he was clear offside.
You see, that's my point. I was at the
clearly
stadium, so I
offside
didn't
before
see.
the pass was made.
But look at
look
this.
at the pass.
He
Look at
wasn't
it.
offside.
Look at it. No.
He's
Well,
offside.
out. The ball is gone, Nimli. Now look at his position.
He wasn't offside.
Definitely
he wasn't offside.
Yeah.
And you see, my point is there was
see,
a clear pool.
This angle wasn't. Is not the best of angles.
Okay, we'll bring it. It's coming. Don't worry. It will come back again. We'll pause
so
it.
this angle
here.
is not the best of angle. Come on, he's off.
He wasn't offside.
No, he's off.
He
He's
wasn't
off.
offside.
You see, if that is where our game is at the moment, but we should be virtually mimicking that line. Start time should be in a position to
How
use
is he
that-
off,
He's
Nimli?
not. You can
He's
clearly
not.
see he's not
definitely
offside.
not. Check well. And the ball had barely left the foot of
Okay.
the player.
He wasn't off. You see, and
He wasn't off.
We,
He wasn't
there
off.
was,
He was
a
not off.
clear pool. There was a huge penalty cry, and
wasn't off.
everybody's attention went to the linesman. So initially, when the linesman put up his
Flag,
flag,
we
I
thought
thought
it
it was
was
a
a penalty.
penalty. But then it looked like he whistled for an offside. But you see, these are fine margins.
So, Daniel, what you're saying is that the only reason that wasn't a penalty was because of the offside
Yeah,
call.
because this was a clear penalty. There was a pool.
I don't think he was off.
There was a pool.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
No,
He wasn't offside. No, he wasn't. This is not
no, he
offside.
wasn't. He wasn't
wasn't
offside.
offside.
He wasn't offside.
And this
wasn't
is huge. This is in the 91st minute.
Maybe
this is a
that could-
penalty
but look,
for Kotoko.
A penalty is a penalty.
Yeah.
It is a penalty. Doesn't matter
Very
if it is the
typical of
first
our
minute.
referees. The first minute,
the
of course,
91st.
Should have
very
been given.
typical of our referees. They say, "Come on, this is the biggest game. We've
Oh,
officiated this. At this moment, I give. Come on, let's go play on, man. Quick,
No,
move."
but you see, but it's happened
But
before. I
we
think
shouldn't allow this.
2 seasons ago, Kotoko got a last minute penalty. I think it was
Yeah.
Naby Keita who scored it. But,
Yeah.
So I don't think our referees are afraid. I think, and you see, I don't blame the referee. I blame the linesman because
Yeah,
the
I
first
think
thing
the
the referee
referee's
did
decision.
was to look at the linesman. And when he whistled for offside, because that's what I'm telling you. If the linesman hasn't put up his flag for an offside, it was like the referee would have given
the penalty.
Would have given
The ones he flagged, he needed to
Interesting.
pay attention to.
All right. So that's the lowdown on the Super Clash. Let me hear from you. Send me a message. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'll read them. The messages are coming in. Leave me a message on Twitter using the hashtag Scorecard. Daniel?
Last one. We can't talk about this game without giving props to Dennis Kosa. I think this is one of the best individual
The
performances.
Hartlepool
Hartlepool
left
back. This is one of the best individual
Signed from
performances we've seen in a super clash. It was, look, from start to finish, it was one of those games where by the 50th minute, anytime he touched the ball, the whole stadium,
the supporters were
the
there.
whole, because he did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. Everything was on point. In fact, it was even funny. We were joking about it at the stadium. Mfuege started on the right-hand side. Then he wasn't doing too well. Then Afuakwa went there. Afuakwa failed miserably and was substituted. Isaac Opon came. He started off on the left-hand side. Then he went to Kosa's side. He didn't sit up. He was brought back. And now Kotoko just basically started focusing the attacks down Fatal side because they just knew that there was
Didn't find
no
much
way
success.
they were going to get past
Alright.
Afuakwa.
But I was a bit shocked that Kotoko didn't highlight Fatal.
They didn't target him.
Yeah, I mean, they should have. He's always been the weakest link in our Hartlepool back.
Okay, that's okay. Nimli.
No, but he's always been. We are analyzing. I said, he's always been. That's the fact.
Hartlepool obviously look like they found their perfect replacement for Radio Vuka. So Dennis Kosa getting all the plaudits for his performance in the Super Clash.